Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we have the Nokia 3210 4G and also the 235 4G. I just wanted to use this as a comparison. They run the same operating system, extremely similar. Everything is going to be pretty much the same. The main difference is, of course, the size, thickness, and a couple of extra things with the keys that we'll talk about in just a second. So when it comes to the 3210 4G, let's go over the frequently asked questions. This goes as well over any essentially Nokia device that is running the simple operating system called MoCore. So if you're interested in those devices, then you have it here right there, the frequently asked questions. But the devices are extremely basic. They do not work here in the United States. The only device that assimilates or is very similar to this one is the 225 4G. It runs a very similar operating system, but with one major caveat that got fixed on the 3210. And we'll talk about that in just 1 second. It does have contacts, call logs. It does have a camera. I do not recommend using the camera. It's quite serviceable, very basics. I'm showcasing to you some of the samples that I took over the last few days on the 3210, but I don't necessarily think that this device is going to win any awards when it comes to the camera. It does have messaging, and when it comes to messaging, it does not have T9, but it does have triple click. It does have also the availability of extra characters. So if you want to use something specific, or if you want to use O's with accents, you can also enable that in the settings. So again, very serviceable for one-to-one texting. No group texting on this device, but it did fix the main problem with the 225 4G, which is essentially the American version. In this American version, it does have a text that confuses the timestamps. This one does not do that, even with my testing here in the United States, which is extremely basic, only available with 2G. Something that I am not able to do on the other devices, which is essentially the 235 or 3210, which only work in 2G here in the United States. So not recommended for United States users, mainly for international users. It does have the internet. It's Snap. It's essentially a very basic browser. It does not work without the internet, so I'm going to have to show it to you here on the 225. It's extremely basic version of Opera Mini. It's a little bit revamped here in the 3210, a little bit faster, if I will. Even with the 2G, I actually felt like it was loading the pages quite fast. So I did not have many issues in using it. You can load essentially pretty much whatever you want, scores or something specific, something that you're looking for. It does have the ability to do that. The Facebook application here is not real. It's just a link to the browser, so it's not collecting any data or anything of that nature. It does have Snake, so if you're wanting to play your favorite game, you can go and play it. You have game types, of course. You can classic, box, tunnel, mill, RAL, etc., etc. It does have a radio that works without having to connect to the 3.5mm headphone jack, but it's not as good of quality if you don't connect the headset. I'm going to just play it here for a second to show that it works, and then go out right there. So I exited, but it does work and it works very well. It does play music, so you can organize your songs and playlists. I do not recommend loading the memory, although I did here just to test. Here I have a 13-second song or credits of the audiobook, and here an alarm, then you have the videos. But if you're going to load a lot of music or videos into this, I highly recommend you get a 32 gig card, which is the maximum that this allows, so that you can load your music in there. It does play videos MP4 on the 32 gig card, not natively, essentially. You do have files and settings and a couple of extras like world clock, timer, unit conversion, calculator, calendar, which was quite nice. You're able to add events, very basic things, and get a couple of reminders. You do have the ability to do a torch. So if you need a torch for whatever reason, it's not super bright and not the most amazing, but it does get the job done right there. It does have a recorded encounters, which is essentially for your data. So if you don't have a SIM card here, it's not going to work as well. It does come with a couple of games, and I don't necessarily recommend any of them. They actually have only a trial now, and you have to buy the full version if you want to continue playing them. So I guess if you really don't want to be distracted by them, you can just play them for 3 times or attempt to play them, and then you will never have to deal with them again because you won't have to buy them. But the Operating system is quite smooth. It's again based on the same ThreadX system. Very basic, very nice, very rapid, and fast in the transitions and everything in between. So if you're looking for something extremely basic, I highly recommend that you look into these Nokia devices. Now they cost about 60 euros or a little bit more, but they come with a couple of differences here and there. So why I prefer the Nokia 3210 over the 235 4G? Well, number one is the design. It's a little bit more ergonomic. This one's a little bit more boxy. The keys here, I feel just a little bit more plasticky and less depth. I feel like they're going to falter at some point in time in the future, whereas on the 3210, I actually felt that they were more robust. The clickiness was there. I actually felt like it was going, like, my typing speed or like just navigation speed felt a little bit more demarcated. But if you need a little bit of a bigger profile or, personally you enjoy more of like the continuous keypad, then the 235 can be a good option. And again, it's just a larger version. It works essentially the same in here, and especially if you get the European version. If you get an Asian version of any of these devices, it will be a little bit different because that one has cloud apps, and the cloud apps include stuff like YouTube Shorts or UPI payments in India or a couple of extra communication things, and they run via Puffin browser. So if you were interested in the cloud apps, you can look into what they were kind of like looking for in there. This one also has a camera, very similar camera to the 3210. So if you're looking for a slimmer profile, just a smaller, go with the 3210. If you're looking for something larger with a better screen, like readability or for whatever reason, then the 235 4G can be a great device. Very basic devices, very nice from Nokia. A little bit of a better design in my opinion. So as you see right here, I'm going to put the 3 in kind of like a comparison mode. And if you see right here, the finishes on these two new ones are less shiny than this specific one right here on the 225 4G, which is the American version of these devices, essentially. I do like the 225 4G for those of you who need something specifically, super basic, but again, these devices are a little bit better and they do fix that problem with the SMS. If you have any questions about this device or any of the other devices that I have reviewed, make sure to put them in the comments below and I'll be interacting with you guys there with everything that I know about these devices. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.